thank you for having us here. So we are Mana Electric, and we aim to become the utility company of the solar system. Next slide, please. And so, to give you a bit of perspective on some of the problems that the energy markets face today, we're addressing both Earth and the Moon. So on Earth, you're seeing 1.2 billion people still do not have access to electricity, and most of these people are in remote areas. And additionally, our energy infrastructure needs to change rapidly if we want to beat climate change according to the Paris Accords. And for the Moon, what you're seeing in terms of energy markets is that if you want to do any kind of ISRU activities on the Moon, you're going to need at least a megawatt of power. And additionally, right now we're bringing everything from Earth if we want to go there, which also is an issue, of course. So our solution to this is we produce fully automated production facilities which are able to use the local resources and electricity to produce fully functional solar panels. And we have a two-sided approach on this. We have the TerraBox, which is specifically focused for Earth, and then we have the LunaBox, which is focused for the Moon. And as you can see, they have expected payback periods less than 2 years. So our value proposition in this sense is that on Earth we can actually build solar panels at 1/5 of the price of current market prices. And additionally, our technology is completely clean. We produce 0 CO2 in the entire value chain. For the Moon, we are 1/10 of the price of, for example, bringing solar panels from Earth. And this is, of course, a key differentiator. And we actually produce oxygen as a byproduct in our production process. So our approach in this is that we first want to focus on Earth. We want to build inexpensive solar panels in 2020 in deserts on Earth, and then we want to move from there into space, going to the Moon in 2024, and eventually other destinations to build solar capacity. And what's really crucial about this approach is that 60% of the R&D that will go into the Earth prototype will actually be transferable for a lunar mission.
So looking at the markets on Earth, since 2008, there's been approximately 25% increase in the total amount of power produced and consumed per year. However, of that, only about 0.2% actually came from solar electricity. However, the good news is that the solar industry is growing at about 40% year over year. So our focus then will be sort of 2 stages. Initially, as we have a limited number of TerraBoxes available, we plan to focus on microgrid projects, and these are projects that have less than 10 megawatts of net capacity. This is so that we can use fewer units to still produce meaningful change and meaningful power. In the long term, as we produce more units or have higher efficiency solar panels that are being produced, we plan to attack utility scale projects, which are solar farms that have greater than 10 megawatts of nameplate capacity. So here you can see a price comparison between the traditional industry standard of solar panels and what we predict that Mana Electric will be able to provide. Clearly, about 60% of the costs for traditional solar panels come from materials and equipment. Material costs. However, because Mana Electric uses exclusively the local in-situ resources, such as sand or lunar regolith, our material costs are incredibly low, so we can save an appreciable amount of money compared to some of our competitors. This allows us to have a much higher gross net profit margin compared to what's typical in the industry standard, and allows us to compete quite heavily with traditionally produced solar panels. So our timeline is broken up into 3 main chunks: the short, medium, and long term. And each is gated by sort of a major global event. 2020, we plan to have our first microgrid projects beginning to be under construction. And this is in time with the full effect of the Paris Agreement coming into effect. And then by 2024, we hope to be able to reinvest in ourselves to produce the first LunaBox for lunar applications. And this coincides with the end of the ISS mission, or projected end of the ISS mission. So hopefully there'll be a lunar village at that point. This is our team. Aside from Joost and myself, who are the co-founders, we're being supported by French astronaut Jean-Jacques Favier, who is in the audience today, who's supporting us from a science and strategy perspective. We also have 2 engineers that are working with us, Luca Celianto and Pablo Caya, both of whom are doing an excellent job helping us develop our initial prototypes and technology. And so that's our company, Mana Electric. Thank you very much for your attention.